Hey guys, welcome to this quick video. I just want to show you how I've started doing my dado grooves. I used to do them with the router bit, lots of dust, lots of noise, very annoying, very irritating. And the more I do woodwork, the more I prefer to do things by hand with the quietness. You can get time to think. So I'm going to show you how I do these dados with a hammer and chisel, a marking knife and a square. It's a groove that's going to go down the center of that board, one on that board, and then these two boards will then go on top of each other. It's a dividing panel that I'm making a dado for, and then we will do the rabbits on the other side. This is a Paul Sellers method, so if you want to watch his video, check the link down below in the description and you can watch how he shows the video as well. Right, so the first thing I've done is I've marked where my dado is going to go. Just for reference sake, a dado is a groove that goes across the grain. A groove is a groove that runs with the grain. So what I've done is I've marked out my two reference lines. This is 12 millimeters wide, mostly because I've got a 12 millimeter chisel. So when it comes out to cleaning in the corners up here, on this side especially, you will see that having a groove the right size of your chisel will come in handy. The wood that I am putting in here is 18 millimeters thick. So the shoulder on the upright is going to be a 6 by 6 millimeter rebate on the one corner. One side will be flush, one side will be rebated, slot in there 6 millimeters deep. It's also stopped short on the front here, so it's called a stop dado, so it doesn't go all the way through from the back to the front. I'm leaving it short on the front here so that you've got a nice clean edge so you don't see that shoulder line on the inside, and the upright will also stop about 10 millimeters short of the front of the unit. I reference the two boards against each other so that they are perfectly in line. That way we can have a perfectly perpendicular board in between the base and the top. So I'll just show you quickly how I did that. So these are my two boards, my top and my base. And what I've done is I have flipped them over like that, lined them up on the edges. This is going to be an open cabinet on this side. What I did was measured in the distance to there. Whatever that side is there, I'm going to put a shelf across and cover doors. And then I'll take my set square, mark it up on the back side, make sure your square is straight. Shoot a line across from top to bottom, move over to your 12 millimeter gap line, shoot a line across both boards at the same time so that you know that they are perfectly in line. Once you flip it over, that upright will be straight. Okay, so I'm going to make sure your table's clear, every debris underneath. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark out my knife wall lines. So you can take your marking gauge to mark out your front line here. You can also then keep this marking gauge set to that mark so you can do both boards at the same time. Just going to mark that with the light pass first and then get a little bit harder there. But we're also going to use a router plane just to clean up the base of this dado when we're done. Alright, so I've got my board clamped down, I've got my knife wall on my shoulder on the stop edge there. So I'm going to take my square now, set it on the line. I've got a beveled knife, so I use my flat side on the outside. I will do a light pass until my shoulder, and I will gradually do a couple of deeper passes so that my knife wall is well established. What I will do now is I'm going to move my square onto the other side of the line. I'm going to use a different cutting knife that's got a bevel on the other side so I can get a nice straight wall down that side. Just quickly, while I'm here, is just to show you that I used my marking gauge and made a 6 millimeter deep line on the bottom, and then used my combination square, put my knife in the groove in that previous wall and just made a line up, and then did the same thing on the other side. And this is going to be removed all the way through till that stop over there. So now that we've got those marks at the end, we've got our knife walls in there, we've got that there, what we're going to start doing now is start chopping. And I'm going to use the widest chisel that I've got. This is a 1.5 inch chisel, 30 mil, and a reasonably sized mallet. So the way we're going to do it is we're going to start chopping from the back all the way to the front at an angle, getting that depth slightly down. Then we'll run our knife in there one more time, and then we'll go slightly deeper on both sides. And then on the third pass, what we will do is we'll use the chisel to chop down with the drop down edge of this, and then we'll pull out the router plane. So I'm going to be doing this bevel up. The chisel of the bevel is on the top side. You do about 5mm back towards the back corner, nice sturdy grip, not too deep, just so you can flick that out of there. Nice. Flick it out, all the way through. Now I did mention that I've got a knot over here, so that is going to be a little bit more tricky when you laminate wood together. I'm just going to use a smaller chisel on this knot here just to avoid any hiccups, and go slightly lighter tap because I don't want any tear out, because you don't know which way this knot is going to be running the grain. It's all twisty and gnarly. Continue with this one just past this other small knot here. So you get past there. Go back to the bigger one. You don't want to go too deep. Remember your knife only went down maybe 1.5 mil. So you don't want to go too aggressively and tear out any other fibers that are underneath there. Now that that's done there, I'm just going to cut this again with my knife to get that knife wall deeper again. Now that it's got some space, put my gauge in there, move my square up to it, and then just go a couple of times. Just do this for the first 2 rounds, so 2 rounds of cutting like that. So now all these other bits should peel out relatively easily. So now what we do is we go back another 3 mil, 2-3 mil, just go back in there, just go slightly deeper than we did the first time. Just alleviating pressure every time we go a little bit deeper, so the chisel's got more space to move around. So I do the knife wall 2 times just to establish a nice deep reference point, and then I will go with the chisel straight down next time. So now I will take the chisel and I will go straight down into that back corner. 1 tap down, move over to the next one. Now what you'll see is all of those other fibers there will start peeling out. Gives you a nice deep reference point to get inside that cut line using that shoulder. We're not hitting hard enough to move the chisel backwards. Okay, now we go back and we go about halfway in. Now we should be able to get out a little bit deeper here now. Nicely there. Right, now we're going to start on the other side. I do not like to hammer that way, so I'm going to flip the board around. Alright, let's go back this way. So we're causing like a little valley in the middle, little peak, sorry. If you start hammering and you can see that it's looking like it's not going, rather pull back. I can see this here, over this harder wood here in the middle, it's not as deep. So I'm just going a bit more gently on that side, taking out a much smaller piece. Back in here again quickly. Now I can go and put it on the point of that and just go a little bit steeper just to get that out. So now we're actually going down the whole way across. So I must be careful of this section here. Okay, so now I'm going to go straight down. Solid blows. Now I'm going to go right down a little bit further, and I'll work the other side again. We're almost at depth that side, so I'm actually going to trim out this side here now while we're in this position. If you notice what I do with my chisel is I use the back end of the chisel and reference it in the chop that we've just done, and then bring it forward so that the back is flush with that knife edge there. So find that you must step back a bit as you're going, else you cramp yourself up a bit too much. You get used to one stance, and my stance, chisel in about that distance. So whenever you move, you want to walk back so that you're the same distance away with your chisel, so that you've got muscle memory of how you hold your chisel, how you hold your hammer. You're going to get a good result. Right, so after chiseling out with the chisel and just taking off that hump, I've got the router plane out, and I'm just going to set it half turn down. I'm going to work my way from the front backwards. That way there's less material to pull out in front of it. Just go gingerly. I know you're going to get the lines here. I must actually put a board underneath here. It's looking pretty good. I'm just checking my hack here. I can see my cut line. I'm just above my cut line, so I'll go one pass with this. And go from the back now to the front because I'm doing very shallow passes. Now I should be able to, I see I chiseled a little bit deep there, but hopefully I can get rid of that. So let's go down another half turn. One more half turn. Chisel in the corner there, let's run it. Right, so that's the groove pretty much done. Altogether that took me about 20 minutes to make this, and shavings, no dust. Hopefully that's all right.